APG Jamie here, and today we're going to make a flippity floppin journal. We're starting off with faux chipboard, also known as food packaging, you know, cracker boxes, cereal boxes, whatever you have. Now the trick to making a journal cover out of these is to use the same type of box in the same direction. Notice how all my prints are going the same direction. That's because chipboard, paper, all of that stuff has a certain grain to it, and if you put the grains going in the same direction, it will be flat. If you put the grains going in opposite directions, that's when you get all that crazy warping stuff going on. Okay, so make sure your grains are going in the same direction. In other words, the easiest way on food packaging is to just make sure your words are all going in the same direction. Okay, and then glue them up in the same direction like that. Now, I personally like to put my printed side on the inside. That's just a personal thing. There's no reason why. It's just, you know, whatever. And I lightly sand it, y'all. And that's just to knock some of that shine off, to add just a little tooth in there for them to adhere together. Okay? That's why I do that. You don't have to sand. And when you do sand, please be careful not to go crazy with the dust, because you don't want to be breathing in this ink, printed, whatever kind of dust stuff that is on your food packaging. That's why I used a baby wipe to wipe away the excess stuff that I sanded. And as you can see, I'm using my favorite glue. Snap-ball's pretty near done. That's why I'm tumping it out so much. And I'm smearing it around with just a squeegee type thing. And I'm trying to be careful to make sure I get my edges really well, because you want your edges to be stuck really well. Otherwise, it might separate. I don't think it necessarily will, but it could. You know, it always could. And matching my edges up really well. And don't worry if you get one that's just a little longer than the other. You can always just trim it up. Okay. Now I'm just going to use my little wooden kitchen tool there. It's a tool I found in the kitchen department, some store somewhere. It's just a little wooden roller thing. And I use it to smash everything together. And you notice I have a baby wipe there. I'm wiping off the excess glue from around the edges and off my tool, because I don't want to just keep smooshing around. Now this is the cardstock I'm going to be using. It is a manila color. I know my camera's blowing out the whites. I don't know what's going on with it, y'all. I've adjusted and adjusted and adjusted, and it's just like, it's just going to do it. Even when I turn the lights off, it still does it. So, yeah. So I've got my glue on the little plate over there, and I made some strips, because these are going to be little reinforcement strips, and they're technically not even noticeable once they're on the page, okay? And one will go on the left-hand side of the page, okay? Just wait for it. And because these are our pages, I've cut them down to size, which, yeah, off the top of my head, I don't know what the size is. Sorry, Charlie. Whatever size your page is. This is a flippity floppity type journal, y'all. It's so cute. I'm so stinking happy with it. See, it's just I just didn't get it quite matched up, but that's okay. Just trim it off. It'll be fine. Now this is another strip for the other edge. Okay, but don't put them both on the same side of the paper. It's cardstock, not paper. On the same side of your cardstock, because these are the pages, the inside pages. I didn't say that, because we're letting our cover dry overnight. It was a pretty damp day. Okay, that's on the left side. Flip the paper over. Now we're going to put this on the left side. It's actually on the back, but it's still the left. Okay, there's going to be a little method to my madness. You'll see why in a little while. Anyway, left side, flip it over, left side. Okay, so these are the pages. Here's that one. Here's on the left side. All right, These are my covers. They've dried overnight under a heavy book. It was pretty damp out, so they're really not dry. And as you can see, the pages are slightly smaller than the cover. Not a lot smaller, just slightly. Now I'm starting off with my reinforced side on the left. And I'm going to make it a template punch, a hole punching template. Okay? And I'm marking for the bottom of the page. And I put on their page template, so I knew. And things may not be spelled right, but so it goes. And that's the top of the page. And now I'm going to get a ruler out. I'm not really using it. I'm just sort of using it. And I'm marking up 1.5 inches from the bottom. And I'm going to mark in about 1.5 inches from the top. Okay? Are they precisely the same? No, but doesn't matter. That's why we have a template. Now I'm going to center that at for 1/4 inch. That's where I want the center of my hole to be. That's why I drew a line. I'm going to draw a little line from this one too. And then I'm going up at 1/4 inch, and that makes an angle. See how it makes like a little cornery thing? That's going to be the center of my punch. I'm just using a regular office punch, and I'm going to try to show you. See, I've lined that up, and I'm just eyeballing, y'all. It's mostly in the center. The corner is mostly in the center. I'm going to do it again. I slowed down the camera just a little bit, so it's going to creep along. I'm going to show you. Really? Here we go. See? That's sort of center-ish. Just, all right. Okay, proceed on. Now, this process took a couple hours. Does not include drying time, y'all. Okay? So it takes a while for your journal covers to dry when you adhere them together, you know, the chipboard, the faux chipboard, cereal box, cracker box, whatever stuff. See. And now I'm punching into my page. Okay? And you see I have the reinforcers on the left, and now I'm going to line up that page to the next page, and I will continuously do this, and I might show you the whole stinking thing. Anyway, I had a couple hours worth of film time, and I've got it whittled down to right around 30 minutes, y'all. Okay, so I know there's some more stuff I could have cut out and sped it up faster, but I didn't. Some of this is real time, but the majority of it is sped up. The repetitive process is sped up because, yeah. Okay, so now I got all my holes on the left side. Flipping it over. Now you see I have that reinforcement strip is on the left side. So I'm going to use my hole punching template guide again. I'm matching them up. I think I slowed down for a little bit. I'm having trouble with the holes not coming out of my hole puncher. Get out there. And lining it up. I'm going to do this one too. This is one way of ensuring that your holes are almost exactly precisely the same. I'm no machine. Therefore, they can't be exactly precisely the same. But see those sides lining up, and now when I punch these sides, these sides, that's this side, they'll line up as well. And that's what you want. You want your holes to line up. Even though a little bit of eyeballing's used in this process, y'all. These are our inside pages. And this is for my Flippity Floppity swap. And that's why it's a Flippity Floppin journal. Oh, it makes me so stinking happy. I'm just so happy. So as you can see, we finally sped it out. Okay, now we've got all our holes, and we're going to lay it on the cover because we're going to punch our hole for the cover. And we're going to we're going to write on here front cover outside, because this is the front cover and it's going to be the outside facing part. That way I get my holes on the right sides, correct sides. Shouldn't say right sides, on the correct side. Now I'm going to eyeball its top and bottom and little inside on the edges, okay? Because there's just a very slim border on the edges. And instead of punching straight away on this, because it's going to be hard to hold it where I want it, centered it is-ish, I'm going to draw it with my ink pen so I can see it pretty well. And I'm just drawing the circle and drawing the circle, and I'm going to punch it. And at first I thought, well, yeah, this whole little office hole punch might not punch through 2 layers of cracker box, but it did. It took a little effort on my part, but it worked it. Okay, so there we go, and we're going to do it again for the back cover, but just wait for it. Okay, that's the inside cover. Okay, I think we can proceed on now. So that's how it's going to go. That page is going to connect there, that page is going to connect there, and then this page is going to connect here, and then this page will connect up there, which means our back cover will connect there. So that's my last page. I'm flipping it over. Back, cover, inside. Okay. Okay. I know there's probably a better way to do this, but I didn't watch any videos to figure out if, you know, because it's sort of an accordion, sort of. Okay. But anyway, so now I'm drawing my circles. And there we go. And I'm going to punch that out. Punch. And punch. Now we're going to set our pages aside, and I'm going to decorate on the cover. Now you can cover your cereal box with cardstock, painty papers. You can paint the cover. You can do just, you know, tip the same whatever you want to do. Now this is the front cover outside. Okay. That's the back cover inside. I'm going to decorate the outside of the cover first, which means my inside words need to be facing down. Am I going to do that? Yes, there we go. So far so good, APG. You rocking it, girl. Okay, so this part's going to be sort of mostly probably sped up because, you know, you're going to decorate your covers any way that you want. If you want to cover them with cardstock, you don't need to gesso or do any of this. Just glue your cardstock on there and trim it out. So, like, this is gesso. White gesso, y'all. Just, you know, because the inside of the chipboard there, cereal box, excuse me, can be a little porous, so we're just going to put that on there, and I want it white because I'm going to collage with the napkin in a minute. So as you can see, the board gets just a little warped because it's damp. It doesn't get all twisted. It's just, you know, bowed up a little bit. So we just unbowed it. We're going to use a napkin. Look at these napkins I found. I wasn't looking for them. I just happened to across them one day. I don't know what store it was. Could have been a grocery store. Could have been Tuesday morning. Could have. I don't think it's a dollar store, but it could have been. Okay, could have just. It was just. I don't even know where I was. Could have been Walmart's. They got flippity flops on them, y'all. So I'm going to use my water brush. You don't have to have a water brush. You can just use a regular paintbrush that you dip in water because I'm going to water cut them. Does it matter? Not really. And I'm leaving just a little extra space on the side. Okay, because, you know, paper can stretch when it gets damp just a little bit. And sometimes napkins wrinkle up and then you are shortchanged, and you don't want to be short sheeted, y'all. So I'm just cutting more or less where I want it so that it looks like a pair of flip-flops. That's why I'm having to round that one area just ever so slightly. Ta-da! No, it's not ta-da part. So now we're going to collage it down, and we're going to use our matte medium, and I happen to be using Liquitex matte medium because it's what I have, so it's what I'm using. Okay, here's our little palette. Should put the rest of that gesso up, but I didn't. And I'm just going to paint over the whole thing because why not? Just saying, why not? I mean, you know, I want to make sure I get it, you know, wet behind where I'm going to put my napkin. So I'm laying it down. I'm kind of not really stretching it out, but sort of to minimize wrinklage. And now it's down. I'm not going to be able to pull this one up. Just saying, it's down. And we're going over it with a generous helping of matte medium across the top. And as you can see, I'm trying to paint from the center out to help work out any air bubbles that may have been trapped in there, and to help work out some wrinklage. But you need to have a delicate touch because this is napkin and it'll tear. Your paintbrush will tear it fairly easily, so be careful, y'all. We're going to do the same thing on the back. Okay, I'm going to watercut it out, but you could just easily used scissors on this, except around the top, because I want it to have a melty look around the top. So there we go. And our little rounded heel part, that part's sticking out. Like I said, we're going to do the exact same thing. Do I show you this whole process on the back outside cover? I don't know. You know, I edited this yesterday and I'm versing over today. Oh, it got offline, but because I didn't have the whole thing stuck down, I was able to lift it up a little bit. This side got more wrinklage than the front, but so it goes. And again, going from the center out, trying to mostly. You want to make sure you have your edges pretty well stuck down. You don't want them peeling up on you, people. Here you go, y'all. It's was set over there and dried for a while, and then I heat gunned it, and then I had to walk away and let it dry a little bit more. And now I'm trimming away the excess napkin hanging off the edge. I'd rather have some hanging off the edge than not have enough coverage on the front, just saying. So there we go. Okay. Now, it takes an actual while for this to totally dry. And have I punched my hose? Oh, see, that still says the inside. So I know that's the inside of the cover. Just saying. Okay. I don't know when I punched that hoe out, but I will get to. Oh, see, I can't even squirt it out of that bottle because the little tip that goes into the little hoe broke off in the little hoe. I don't know why, but sometimes it happens for me frequently. So now I'm going to paint with a baby wipe. Got a baby wipe. I've wadded it around my finger there, and tamping some paint in it, and now I'm just going to tample it all on there. Now that's a navy color paint I got. Oh, there's a list of ingredients in the description box below, including paint colors. So there you go. So I'm just daubling it on there, and it's pretty close to that blue. It's just not coming out so close because it needs at least a second coat. And I'm just daubling it on because I want it to be sort of mottled. Okay? Yeah. So that's what I'm doing. Front and back. Gonna let it dry. Okay, so I heat gun it, y'all. Same difference. Just about. Now remember, my boards are still sort of damp because, yeah, takes a while for that stuff to dry, y'all. Here comes the second coat. Nope, it doesn't match exactly, but it's pretty close and it makes me pretty happy. So there we go. Here we're going to punch the hole, you know, through the napkin that's strung across the hole. So we're just re-punching that. Okay, so now we got our front and our back. Okay, see? Makes me happy. So now we're going to work on the inside cover. For this, I'm going to put cardstock inside. It's the same as the page color. Excuse me, y'all. And I'm going around the edge with red paint because that's the color I want it. And I do a couple of coats. And I'm trying to stay off the outside edge. And here's our inside. I'm going to cut it slightly smaller. I'm trying, y'all. Slightly smaller than the cover size because it's different. See? So that we have a nice pretty red edge coming around the color of our inside page, which is kind of a manila-y color. So we're going to get out some more of our glue. We're going to essentially do the same thing using the scraper tool. And I don't take it all the way out to the very edge because I don't need it all the way out to the very edge. I'm just kind of eyeballing, guessing about where the edge of my paper is going to come because I want to make sure I get the edges of my paper glued, y'all. Okay? So there we go. And see, it fits. And I'm eyeballing about the amount of red edge that I want, and I'm wiping away the excess glue with a baby wipe. Now you got to be careful because that red's not, 24-hour dry, so a little bit of that's going to lift up, and I'm going to just smash it out with the roller. And I did that for the back cover as well, or whichever one it was. So now I'm going over the entire front with matte medium because I want it to all have the same sheen. That includes the paint. I'm going over the inside as well with matte medium. A couple of coats each. Got to let it dry between each one. And that way it'll seal it up and will help keep dirt, fingerprints, smudges, whatever off. Will help. It doesn't solve it. Now we're going to string this together. I've got long strips of muslin fabric, which is just cotton fabric. I believe in the UK you guys call it calico. So it's just cotton unbleached fabric, meaning it's sort of a neutral color. It's not white. It's off-white. And I'm just tying those, and I'm tying them too tight. And I know I'm tying them too tight because watch, my page doesn't flip over. I don't want it to bend the page. I want the page to flip over. Okay, so I got to loosen up my knot. Now, can you sew these closed? Can you put a touch of glue on them later? Absolutely, but first assemble it so you got, see, now our page kind of flips over there. Okay, that's the front cover and the first page. All right, get my strip over here. Here's coming up our second page. Okay, flipping it over. So that's the side that gets, and I'm just going to trim these before I tie the knot because it seemed just, in my head, it seemed it more efficient. There should be plenty of room to tie a knot. Not a tight knot, kind of a loose knot. See how it opened up? And then we're going to flip that over there, and here comes our next page. Yes, this is something I thought of myself. I don't know if there's been one of these made, but there probably has because there's nothing new in the art world under the sun. It's just a different way of doing it and, revised kind of thing. So, but I wanted a flippity floppin journal. Okay? And I believe I succeeded. Makes me happy. I know I'm going to show you all the pages and everything because... Just because. There will be a short photo montage. Not very long, because, yeah. And I'm going to show you how I put my flippy flop in there. Okay, see this is the back cover. Notice I'm still doing the same. Okay. And amazingly, I couldn't have measured out that fabric strip any more better than just that. I mean, look, that was one whole strip. I don't know how long the strip was. Look. Okay, see, we got all our little knots and the little frayed edges on the outside. Got all smooth on the inside when you look at it that way. So there we go. We're turning those two pages at a cut, and then we turn the back cover, and then bam, we can flip it over, and now we're back on the front. Ta-da! Y'all, it makes me so happy. I love it. Yes. Yes, baby. Oh, and this is that flippity floppin paperclip thing I made for journal decoration, y'all. It got stuck and it put a little bobo on my cover. So I'm going to put it on the fabric strip right there. And it's like a perfect length, y'all. I didn't pre-measure any of this stuff out. So it's just kind of, how I am. Yeah, it's all flippy floppy. Ta-da! Look at that. Okay, now I'm going to, like we're decorating, I'm putting the name of my swap on the front of my cover. That's what I like to do. I'm showing off. That's what I like to do. So I have die cut these letters, and I will put the name of the die cut set in the description box below. And this took some time. That's why I have over there how many of each letter I need. Oh, that was the die cut in the description box below, along with a list of other ingredients. Ta-da! And now I'm just going to glue it on using my original tacky glue by Aleene. It's my favorite. And just kind of lining them out. I don't want it straight, y'all. It's all flippity floppity. And sticking it down, and some of it I'll have to come back and poke again because, you know, once cardstock gets damp, it tries to bow up sometimes. So yeah. So I'm just going to be spelling out flippity floppin swap. I think I show you the whole flippity attachment here, but the rest of them I don't necessarily show you. And then once I get all my letters on there, I come back with the brush and smoosh out some of that glue so that it's not quite so globby. The main reason you can see it so well is because it is a white glue that dries clear on top of a darker color, just so you know. Then once it all gets dry, okay, I come back with a coat of matte medium over the entire front cover again, just to encase all my little tiny letters in there. So now I decided I need to put the date on there, so I'm going to emboss that. And that was just an anti-static pillow that I made myself, and it's got cornstarch in it, y'all. And here's my date. These are really the only numbers I have that are even small enough. And I'm going to use some red powder. I think it's red geranium, y'all. Not quite the same red, but that's okay. Whatever. Whatever. I'm cool. And there's a spot that's supposed to stamp like that on the tube, but I didn't like it, so I'm brushing some of that excess powder off that spot away with the painty brush. Here's the heat gun. Heat gun, y'all. I don't know if we can see the magic on our screen or not when the embossing powder melts and gets all shiny. Not quite, but that's okay. So there we go. Flippity floppin'. And then when you go to put the pair of flip-flops in there, well, actually my first page is going to be a title page. I'm going to use this package is from the Dollar Tree, and it's called fastening dots, but it's kind of Velcro, y'all. I'm going to put one on the back of the flip-flop, and then the other one I'm going to put on top, and then that will be the part that gets smashed onto the book so that the flip-flop stays in the book, but yet I can pull it off to see whose flip-flop it was. And you're just going to line it up sort of like that. But I'm going to put the plastic back on there because this is the flip-flop I made that I don't necessarily want in my own book. See? It'll go in there like that. And then there's another one that I made. They'll just all go in there like that. Ta-da! Photo montage. Now this is not totally dry, but you know, and there you get sort of a close-up. Makes me so happy, happy, slappy, happy, flippity floppin' journal. Oh, people, I love it. Makes me happy. I know I keep saying that. I appreciate each and every one of you, your valuable time, your kind comments, your thumbs up, your likes, your shares, your subscriptions. Thanks for watching, and happy arting, y'all.